One of the most destructive beliefs that a young man can hold on to is the idea that in order for him to be a man, he must clap up as many cheeks as humanly possible. That in order for him to be valuable or valid as a man, he must lay up with as many chicks as he is able to lay up with. And there's some folks who are listening to this video right now thinking to themselves, well, I mean, that does make you the man, right? We came up with homeboys who are around us every single time we were talking to a chick. First thing they would ask us is what? Not, oh, how's she doing? You know, oh, are you guys cultivating a healthy relationship? Hell no. The first thing they ask is, did you clap? Did you hit those? Am I lying? What type of conversations were we having as young men or boys every time a chick walked by with a thing on the back? Oh man, you see them chick, man, I'm about to, man, if I got my, I'm not a feminist and I'm not a red pillar. I'm an equal opportunist asshole. Everybody can get it. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like there isn't a culture and an acceptance of this hypersexuality, of this objectification that takes place. And I know it takes place on both sides. Let's not get it twisted. Women have been programmed to become freakier and freakier, just out there with it. The sexy reds of the world only exist because there is enough of an audience, enough of a market to buy into that level of ratchetness and 304ness. I am well aware of that. But let's have this real conversation. You hold a belief, or once held a belief, that in order for you to be valuable as a man, that your pathway into manhood was not integrity, was not dignity, was not self-respect. Those were not the things you believed at a core level. You believed that you are only valuable if you laid up with a few, if not a whole lot of chicks. If this was a lie, then why is it that a boy who is a virgin is looked down upon? Because the greatest insult you can get when I was coming up as a boy, or as, you know, getting into manhood or male, well, I have a hard time using the word man because I view manhood as something very specific. It's something you mature into, right? That's why I don't necessarily always say man. I say adult males, right? Because not everybody has matured into manhood, but I'm going to just use the word man for the sake of not making this too complex or making it too wordy in essence. When we were becoming men, when we were young boys coming up, the greatest insult was to call another dude a virgin. Am I lying? Oh man, you don't get none. What's the first thing you would say to bruh in order to get under skin? You don't get none. And the greatest shot to your ego was what? Was when a chick rejected you or rejected your advances to try to get into that bedroom. Let's not get it twisted. 99% of the chicks that you have dealt with came from a basis of I want to clap. Let's be real here. It's only when you start stepping into a cleansed mindset, renewing your mind, quite literally. It's only when you cut off these addictions that you have to corn and any other sort of dysfunctional behavior, any of these other sexual depravities, because that's exactly what they are. It's depraved. You may think it's not because it's normalized. Oh, but everybody else is doing it. Do you know what else everybody else is doing? It's filling their bodies up with toxins. So you're going to do it because everybody else is falling into the same trap. You're going to do it because everybody else is absolutely not. You know, at 20, almost 21 years old, I made a decision to cut corn out of my life. And it was the greatest decision I made. And I've gotten off of dope. I've stepped out of the streets from even slanging dope. I've cut sugar and carbs out of my life. I have gone through extremities in my life. And none was more serving than when I cut that dysfunction out of my life. It gave me my power back. There are so many dudes who are weak because they are controlled by the cookie. Weak. And I'm not even talking about the wifey's cookie, which you shouldn't be controlled even in a relationship, right? You shouldn't be pedestalizing anybody. That's your equal. right? That's your people right there. That is your woman. That's whatever. I completely get that. But there are dudes who are literally walking through these streets, salivating, looking at every behind. Bah. I've seen it walk around with my girl. I have an extremely beautiful woman. She is beautiful by anybody's standards, right? She's been blessed. She's beautiful within and beautiful without. That's just what it is. And I cannot tell you how many times. And the part that gets me to separate from, the level of disrespect that is when I come to realize that they're doing that with every single thing that walks by. Brain rot of the highest order. They can't even control their urge to salivate over any and old thing. Do you not understand that whatever has a hold of you has control of you? Do you not understand that? You are weak. I don't give a damn if you got all the muscles in the world, you got all the money in the world. If you are a simp at that level, and I'm not using that word in the context of the red pill, right? Because they call you a simp if you show your lady love. If your wife is valuable to you and you respect her and you love her, they see that as being a simp, right? They have dysfunctional relationships. A lot of those dudes got a lot of problems. What I'm talking about is from a standpoint of you are crippled as a man who has integrity, who has dignity, who has certain values that he stands by and will not deviate from. Your entire world will be shaken up if a chick with a big old thing and some tatas walks by you right now and shows you a little bit of affection, a little bit of attention. You will lose everything off the bat of that right there. An IG model, an online 304 will come up to you right now, show you a little bit of play, and you are willing to lose everything off the back. Everything off the back of that. The amount of episodes I have seen of these damn, catfished shows, and I've seen dudes give away hundreds of thousands of dollars to a chick they have never even met. Never even met. We love to talk about OF. Oh, these OF chicks out of control. Yeah, it's out of control. 304 behavior is destructive to women as well as men, but mostly women because they're the ones who are taking themselves through that, right? It's destructive. But you know what else is destructive? The fact that there are tens of millions of boys and men who are signing up for those accounts. Who's sending the donations? Why is there a chick who made $50 million in a calendar year? Why? Why does that exist? Because somebody is out there controlled by the cheeks. And this is the byproduct of being raised in that type of mentality of, in order for me to be a man, I must be obsessive about getting this one thing that is so surface level and so shallow when it's outside the context of a loving relationship. I'm not saying it might not feel good or whatever it is. Trust me, I didn't have my days, I didn't have my times. And that's why I'm able to have this type of conversation from a place of authority as opposed to from the outside looking in. I know what it is to be in that, and I know that there is nothing there. It is empty. Everybody gets to a place. That's why some folks start to do freakier and freakier things. They end up becoming the diddlers because they're so saturated by that aspect. The Kanyes of the world. He was so enamored, not even enamored and infatuated. He was possessed by the cheeks that it took him to the most extreme levels where, you can't be satisfied. It's like when you're watching, a certain level of corn and then it degenerates into worse and worse and worse. And now in order to get that same fix, you need worse and worse. It's like a drug intolerance, right? Like your tolerance gets higher. So now you need more of that very same, chemical in order to get you to that same place. And so when your mind is overruled by that sense of, of animalistic depravity, you literally become a creep. You are a creep. I don't give a damn how much play you're getting. There's dudes out here who are getting it left and right. You're still a creep. What's the difference between a creep and a freak? Well, a freak is somebody who's getting it. A creep is one who's not and is looking. Y'all are both the same. And it is ruining your life. And it is the thing that is actually stopping your maturation into manhood, because a man is self-disciplined. He is self-governed. A man has respect for himself and therefore those around him. And he is not willing to look at everybody else's daughters and think to himself, you know what? That's a lick right there. That's a lick. I'm a hit and split. I'm a lay up, stay up, and get the hell out. That's not how a man functions. A man functions based upon a few principles, right? His God, his value, his ideal, his moral, the compass, the one thing that is immutable, it never changes. The one thing that never moves, his value system, which is connected to his God. Then under that is the purpose of his life. Why is he here? What is he here to do? Then next under that is his family, the ones that he is a covering over, a leader for. How can a man be any of those things if he is focused on some damn cheeks? He's not even focused on the family aspect. To hell with that. He's just focused on some fleeting cheeks. That's all he sees. That is no man in the truest context of what a man is, one who has matured into that space. That is an individual who is easily manipulated. And unfortunately, we have a society that is overrun by this type of individual. And they are dangerous to the society because their weakness leads to the fall, the crumbling of the society. That's why I can't admire the likes of an Andrew Tate. Because yes, you may have some good advice on one side, but then on the other side, you're creating more of a rift between men and women and having healthy relationships. You're creating more jadedness. You're creating more skepticism. Yes, men should be aware of what's going on. Women should be aware of what's going on. But we should be healthy enough within ourselves to get into healthy relationship dynamics, to know what they even look for, to know what to look for. Those things, absolutely. But when you're going through life just to lay up, just to clap, what do you think the outcome of that is? Besides more dysfunction, right? We love to blame the chicks about being 304s and the body counts and this, that, and the third. Okay, cool. Who's the one clapping? Who is the body count? There has to be a man or men on the other side of that who are willing to just do this for the sake of doing it, for the sake of gratifying their own ego, for the sake of getting some sense of value from another man, likely from another man. It's like when women put on all this costume, the damn caterpillar eyelashes and the lace fronts and the baby hair glued down to the forehead. When you see all that, most men did not ask for that. BBLs, whatever. You're competing with other women. You're trying to show other women that you got that going on. You're trying to show other men that you're a man. And so what do? You degrade yourself and you create more dysfunction in your environment. That is always the byproduct. Don't you know that this is a temple? Don't you understand that your body is a vessel? But you've never thought about it that way because you have no value for yourself. A man who truly values himself is not going to give himself to just any old body. You're not just going to lay, oh, well, she was giving them up. No. And again, this is coming from a dude who got plenty of regrets when it comes to that in my life. I was living by that code of, well, I guess this is who I have to be and how I have to move. And that's why, again, I speak on these things to say, I hope another dude who's out there right now who might feel even bad about himself, man, I'm not getting any. Focus on being the best man you can be. Focus on those internal qualities and then those external parts that come as a byproduct. Your money and all that other stuff should come from a place where you have a resolve within yourself. You are not ruled by the external factors of life. You are not moved and swayed by the level of attention you are or are not getting from the opposite sex. When you cut yourself from that, you become a steadfast man, a leader. And so when you are now developing a household, you are building an empire of your own, a village of your own. You're creating your own internal tribe. You and your wife come together. You are joined. It is a beautiful thing as opposed to a fleeting thing, a wasted thing. You understand me? You are able to view your wife from proper perspective, not to be a dog and an animal. There's some folks who are in relationships right now because, well, that's some guaranteed cooch. That's crazy to me. I want to make sure that you are who you are through and through. Again, as beautiful as my woman is, when it's all said and done, who she is, what she stands on, our values that are aligned. She is a woman of integrity, honesty. These are the things I look at. And if those things were to dissipate, I'll wash my hands of the entire situation. As easy as I get in, I get out. If it shows to be anything other than what I am aligned with, the values that I hold to be highest, to be the only thing that is immutable, only thing that never moves or shakes in my entire, I stand on what I stand on. We're not going to have a disingenuous, dishonest, we're not going to do that. And there's some folks who can't handle that. They can't handle that level of quote unquote pressure. Well, I mean, sometimes you just got to lie. No, I don't believe that. I'm the type of dude who's so, I guess, on it that, let's say kid wants to skip a day of school talking about, oh, well, let's just tell him I'm sick. No, we're not going to tell him you're sick. If you want the day off, you got to have a valid reason. So are you sick or you not? I'm not. Okay, great. Get your butt up and go to school. Simple as that. I'm not about to lie for you for the sake of, well, I feel bad. No, I'm not that guy. I'm not built like that. Some people, they can't handle that level of, they can't handle this. And I say, you know what? You might have to sort some stuff out. But once you become an honest man, once you become a man whose word is bond, you say what you mean what you say. You're not living with a world of broken promises. When you fall into this way of living, when you're so fixated on the cheeks, you lie. You will do anything in order to get in them draws. You are a blatant liar. That's what game is. Running game is lying. It is deception. It is witchcraft. We love to talk about how, makeup is witchcraft in essence, it's sorcery of the highest order. When you're running game, when you're telling sweet nothings, you are lying. And if you're dealing with people who can't take the truth, then you need to deal with different people. Well, I mean, if I tell her that, then she ain't go. Exactly. That's the point. Exactly. If you can tell somebody the truth and that's going to lead them away from you, then so be it. Get rid of them folks. If you got to lie your way into a situation, then that ain't the situation for you. You think nobody's watching. Maybe you believe that God, there's no whatever, no consequences. But I say this, you are watching. You are always going to be with you. You are going to continue to lose respect for yourself. You trust yourself less every single time you break a promise, every time you tell that lie. Oh, but you justify that it meant nothing to you. Okay. Go ahead and see where you are at 5, 10, 15 years, 20 years into that type of behavior. See where your life ends up. That's why you see these dudes who have not moved from the place, or they're even in a worse place than they were than you saw them 20 years ago. They are so fixated on something that is so fickle and fleeting. I'm not talking about your connection with your woman. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about you and wifey coming together in this beautiful thing, and maybe even producing child from that, or just for your enjoyment within the context of a relationship. I know this sounds so old school. I sound like an old man on the porch, get off my lawn vibes. But this is how far and how disconnected we've gotten from ourselves to see something that is supposed to be sacred, to see something that's supposed to be so valuable, we don't just give it to anybody, and seeing that as the least valuable. That's the first thing to go. There are folks who will give that up faster than they will give a dollar bill. Like, they will give that up faster than they'll give their time, faster than give anything else. Right? They're not willing to go and really discover who this person is, but they'll lay up. What is that? What is that? And then you see the statistics of why we got all types of rampant diseases in these streets, etc. It's no coincidence. It's because we put this into the wrong perspective, and it is destructive to men just as much as women. We love to have the conversation with women, and it is destructive maybe in a different way, but it is destructive to men. It makes you weak, and a weak man is a useless man. God honest truth. And I'm not just talking about muscles and all that type of stuff, right? That's the last tier, is physical strength. I'm talking about mental and emotional strength. I'm talking about the level of discipline that you have. That's why you can't build nothing of substance. You are so infatuated, fixated, so lustful that you can't even focus on anything long enough. You can't even go through your feed without looking at some cheeks. And that's why you become weaker and weaker and weaker. You become more and more dependent on that external validation until you get to a place where you don't even know yourself. I appreciate you for tapping into this video, and if you would like to show some love to the channel, make sure to click the link below titled Buy Me a Coffee, or you can send a Cash App, or, just keep showing up. I'll keep showing up, you keep showing up, and it'll be a beautiful thing. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon.